A deeply Democratic district to defend his stance on healthcare, to answer questions. He took 5 hours to talk to voters, answered every single question that came his way. And there was heckling, there were boos, there were feisty exchanges, but I think voters left that town hall feeling like at least they were okay to agree to disagree. They didn't leave.
Amy, I hear what you're saying, that it's a variable, but Amy, I saw when the provost or the dean, whoever it was, who came out and tried to reprimand the kids, to cool it, and they didn't. Now, maybe they were finally, the backstory on this, apparently the students had telegraphed that they did not want her speaking there, I think maybe to Christie's point, and they went ahead and invited her anyway. But that's a slippery slope, is it not? That you have to make sure that whoever's invited to speak at your graduation is politically acceptable to all. By that definition, anyone even slightly conservative would be out.
And graduation is actually supposed to be a celebration of these students moving forward into the world, which is not going to only reflect their point of view. That they will be dealing with people, with politics across the spectrum, some in agreement and some in opposition. And this is teaching students that you don't actually have to have a constructive dialogue with someone who disagrees with you. You can heckle, you can boo, you can be rude. Well, that's actually not how life works, and that's not how a democracy and a republic should work.
I think Amy brings up a good point. People need to listen. Americans are not listening to each other right now.
As the Democratic strategist on this panel, certainly I agree with the idea of going to places where you're going to hear points of view that you might personally disagree with. I think the one piece that we're missing here, though, is that Betsy DeVos actually has the ability to radically affect these students' lives through her policies, that they not just disagree with, but can be
they're not even giving
by.
her the chance, Christine, or calmly reacting and stating very, very clearly, as you just did throughout this segment, all of those viewpoints. But again, that's me. My dad at my graduation just wanted to be there to see if I truly would get a degree. So we'll see. But ladies, thank you all very, very much.
Thank you, Neil.
Meanwhile, we were mentioning this earlier, but the Washington Post has this big ripping expose on Donald Trump, citing 30 unnamed sources, 30 unnamed sources on the whole Comey thing. Overkill. After this.
Thank you.
Imagine if the things you bought every day earned you miles to get to the places you really want to go. With the United Mileage Plus Explorer card, you get a free checked bag, 2 United Club passes, priority boarding, and 50,000 bonus miles. Everything you need for an unforgettable vacation. The United Mileage Plus Explorer card. Imagine where it'll take you.
If you have moderate to severe rheumatoid arthritis like me, and you're talking to your rheumatologist about a medication, this is Humira. This is Humira helping to relieve my pain and protect my joints from further damage. Humira has been clinically studied for over 18 years. Humira works by targeting and helping to block a specific source of inflammation that contributes to RA symptoms. It's proven to help relieve pain and stop further joint damage in many adults.
Humira can lower your ability to fight infections, including tuberculosis. Serious, sometimes fatal infections and cancers, including lymphoma, have happened, as have blood, liver, and nervous system problems, serious allergic reactions, and new or worsening heart failure. Before treatment, get tested for TB. Tell your doctor if you've been to areas where certain fungal infections are common, and if you've had TB. Hepatitis B, are prone to infections, or have flu-like symptoms or sores. Don't start Humira if you have an infection.
Talk to your doctor and visit Humira.com. This is Humira at work.
If you or a loved one have been diagnosed with mesothelioma or lung cancer due to asbestos exposure, call Flint Firm now. An estimated $30 billion has been set aside in a court-ordered trust to pay victims and their families. You may be entitled to financial compensation. Time is limited to file your claim, so call the number on your screen now. Mesothelioma is a rare form of cancer caused by exposure to asbestos. Workers in the Navy, shipyards, mills, carpentry, roofing, insulation, automotive, or construction may be at a higher risk for mesothelioma mesothelioma or asbestos lung cancer. Did you know your family may be entitled to financial compensation even if your loved one is passed? Flint Firm Mesothelioma attorneys are available for your free consultation. You may never have to file a lawsuit or go to court to receive financial compensation. If you or a loved one were diagnosed with mesothelioma or lung cancer due to asbestos exposure, call Flint Firm now. Call 1-800-396-0361. That's 1-800-396-0361 now.
Where have all the shoppers gone? You see what's been happening to retail stocks and everything else? Nordstrom, the latest, losing more ground after hours when Macy's gave disappointing earnings news. The entire sector in decline because you're not buying. Why? After this.
Today, we're finally getting our bathtub redone. We weren't happy with it.
Oh, we didn't want the headaches of demolition.
Or the days without our bathroom. Then a friend told us about Bath Fitter and their unique tub-over-tub process. There's no demolition, and they install in as little as a day. They also have a seamless wall for a watertight fit. And Bath Fitter has a lifetime guarantee. What a difference. Finally, a bathtub I love.
Call today or learn more at bathfitter.com.
Some trends are so influential they can move entire sectors of the market. Take the price of oil. It has the potential to impact the performance of all energy companies. So why continue to take single stock risk? The Energy Sector Spider ETF offers the diversification of the entire energy sector while minimizing your single stock exposure. The Energy Sector Spider, the next chapter in investing. Before investing, consider the fund's investment objectives, risks, charges, and expenses. Go to sectorspiders.com for a prospectus containing this information. Read it carefully.
I don't know if you saw this Washington Post story on the president, James Comey, but inside Trump's anger and impatience at his sudden decision to fire Comey, the story used more than 30 unnamed sources to the Hills media reporter Joe Concha, who writes some interesting stuff on this regarding 30 sources for a story. That's journalism's version of shock and awe, a show of force to drive home the point to readers that what they're about to absorb absolutely must be true if 30 people back it up in unison. I thought it was brilliant, and it apparently gains the heft if there are 30 people doing it, even if they're unnamed.
Amazing, isn't it? I mean, once I get to 10 or 12 sources, I think I kind of have my story at that point. To go to 30, it goes back to what Margaret Sullivan said when she was a New York Times public editor, Neil. She's now with the Washington Post doing basically my job as a media reporter. But she said the number one complaint that the Times would always get from its readers was that they used unnamed sources far too much. They even complain more about that than bias or being inaccurate. And the reason why readers don't like it so much, Neil, is because, okay, you have 30 sources. Who are these sources? I don't need names, but are they credible? What are their motives? Have they lied in the past? Do they have an agenda? Is it the White House chef? Is it the guy that checks your security at the North Gate? So yeah, you could name 30 and boy, that sounds incredible, but unless we know exactly what the credibility of those sources are, that's why readers don't trust what they're reading, because you can basically make up whatever you want and spin any narrative that's out there.
And you could spin it around as well, right, Joe? And I think you bring this up, this idea that if you have to rely on 30 unnamed people, you have doubts about a good chunk of those people, right?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, boy, once I got to 15, this seems a little bit shaky. Better get to 30 to make sure that everybody's on the same page. So I've never seen, that's got to be a record. I've never seen 30 unnamed sources named before in a story like that. And it gives you a little bit of a cause of concern that why would they need so many to corroborate one story?
You know, it's always this back and forth, Joe, with the media on this and why they rely on unnamed sources or anonymous sources. You could say the same about administrations, this one, the Democratic one before them, you know, off-the-record briefings and all. It's just built into the way we all do our jobs. But you seem to be saying maybe a bit too much so.
Oh, Neil, absolutely. I mean, it's every story that we see out of this White House. You never see a name attached. I remember one done by the New York Times about a month or two ago that talked about how White House staffers didn't know how to work the lights within the White House, so they were huddling in the dark. And there's Donald Trump wandering around the White House in a bathrobe. And again, there's no sources there, and it just seems so neat and the narrative so vivid that the reader almost wants to be like, wow, that is almost too much detail. It's almost too perfect. And almost every time, Neil, it skews negative towards the Trump administration whenever these unnamed sources speak. I'm not saying that they don't exist, and I'm not saying that, we shouldn't use them. We would never have Deep Throat. We never would have Watergate if that were the case. But there is a reliance too much, Neil, because the business model now is all about being first instead of accurate. It's all about quantity over quality. And it's all about clicks and ratings and getting stuff out there as quickly as possible, because we're playing to audiences at this point, and people will believe what they want to believe. And if it's something spectacular or scandalous about the Trump administration and you put it out there and it may or may not be right because it's possible to disprove, then they go with it. There's really no consequences if they get it wrong, because you can't disprove it.
A couple of unnamed sources already saying Concha was great in that segment.
I heard tremendous. That's what I'm getting from my unnamed sources. My dad on my text actually just said that. Yeah.
Joseph, thank you very much. Good catching up with you.
Good to see you, man.
All right. In the meantime, the backlash over Director Comey and what it means now for health care, what it means for tax reform. What if I told you what it means is this: delay.
When you woke up this morning, you saw the sun, got your clubs, and well, some things you just can't control, like runaway inflation or unstable governments printing money as worthless as wet scorecards. But you can control whether or not you let the money in your retirement lose its value. Hi, I'm William Devane, and it's time you took cover by transferring your existing IRAs to a Roslyn Capital Gold and Silver backed IRA. That means an IRA backed by gold and silver, not by paper and promises. So control the things you can control. Talk to Roslyn today and protect your retirement with a Roslyn Capital Gold and Silver backed IRA.
Call now and get a free gold kit, including coins only available from Roslyn Capital, a free silver kit, and a free IRA kit. Call 800-630-8900, 800-630-8900, 800-630-8900.
eHarmony's kind of like a really good friend that's trying to set you up.
And they know everything about
because
you.
you tell them everything about you.
So before you even meet the person, you go through all of these important questions that would be super awkward to talk about on the very first date. It was still very romantic when I met him. There was still sparks and chemistry. I think there was probably more so because you already knew you had that much in common with them. So once you see them and there's actual chemistry there, it's really exciting.
Stop waiting. Start communicating for free today.
So I lose my dental insurance when I retire?
That's right, George. Our plan just doesn't cover retirees.
Every year, millions of Americans lose their dental insurance. And with the high cost of dental care, they simply can't afford to go to the dentist. If you're without coverage for whatever reason, you should give us a call. For as little as $1 a day, you can get dental insurance from Physicians Mutual Insurance Company. Call now and we'll send you this free information kit. We help pay for more than 350 covered procedures. Things like cleanings, fillings, crowns, even dentures. Plus, you can see any dentist you want. There are no networks and no deductibles. So don't stop seeing your dentist, because we all know that can lead to bigger problems down the road. Get the dental care you deserve. Call now for your free information kit with all the details about this affordable dental insurance. Call 1-800-905-1029. That's 1-800-905-1029. Call now.
Come on, Josh.
When someone truly believes in you, you can achieve great things, like hitting the game-winning home run. At Loan Depot, we believe in helping you achieve the American dream of owning a home. Loan Depot is the only lender that provides critical illness coverage which you can use to pay your mortgage payments, up to $30,000 in case you're unable to work.
That's impressive.
And if interest rates ever drop, you can refinance without any lender closing costs. Loan Depot, we believe in you.
All right, here's why Republicans say, whether you like our plan or not, the existing Affordable Care Act is dying on a vine. And the latest indication of that, Aetna vowing to pull out of all exchanges by next year. Fox Business Network's Jerry Willis on what that leaves. Not much, I guess, huh, Jerry?
Not much at all, Neil. That's right. The nation's third largest insurer, Aetna, will withdraw from the Obamacare marketplace in 2018, exiting Nebraska and Delaware. The company had already said it would pull back from Iowa and Virginia. Losses are mounting for Aetna, which expects more than $200 million in reading from the exchanges this year, on top of $700 million it lost between 2014 and 2016. Aetna is not alone. Humana and United Health also pulled the plug, and Anthem is expected to reduce its participation as well. Now, the move by Aetna is just one more sign that Obamacare's promise of offering a marketplace for affordable coverage is crumbling. Today, just a third of the nation's counties have more than one insurer, and state insurance officials across the country are biting their nails to see whether more will sign on for 2018 in the coming weeks. In Iowa, the last remaining insurer, Medica, has announced plans to pull out. As the options narrow, more and more people are dropping out. Terry Goodrich, a Raleigh engineer, is one.
Reduces our quality of life, frankly. I mean, yeah, we've got that plan in place, but with a huge deductible and paying those premiums, it really doesn't cover anything, and it puts us in a really bad spot. And I hope Congress does something, because it's ridiculous. If they would come down here, if they would have to use this health care, they would fix it in a heartbeat.
Well, whether Congress will do anything at all is anybody's guess, Neil. I guess we'll have just to wait and see. Back to you.
All right, Jerry, thank you very much. Jerry Willis. Meenam, you would think with all this stuff and everything going on and the ill will between some high-tech CEOs and the like, and particularly Apple's CEO and the like, that they wouldn't be doing anything in this country right now. Then there's Apple, which is apparently investing $1 billion here, plan to hire a lot of folks here. The former Apple CEO and what he makes of that after this.
I'm Thomas, and I quit smoking with Chantix. I was very grateful to have Chantix. At times when I would normally go smoke, I just didn't. It's kind of like, wait a minute, I would normally be running out the door to go grab a cigarette.
Along with support, Chantix Varenicline is proven to help people quit smoking.
Chantix reduced my urge to smoke.
Some people had changes in behavior, thinking or mood, hostility, agitation, depressed mood, and suicidal thoughts or actions while taking or after stopping Chantix. Some reported seizures or sleepwalking with Chantix. If you have any of these, stop Chantix and call your doctor right away. Tell your doctor about any history of mental health problems, which could get worse, or of seizures. Don't take Chantix if you've had a serious allergic or skin reaction to it. If you have these, stop Chantix and call your doctor right away, as some can be life-threatening. Tell your doctor if you have heart or blood vessel problems or develop new or worse symptoms. Get medical help right away if you have symptoms of a heart attack or stroke. Decrease alcohol use while taking Chantix. Use caution driving or operating machinery. Most common side effect is nausea.
Thank you, Chantix.
Ask your doctor if Chantix is right for you.
The next FBI director? As the dust settles from Comey's shocking departure, our experts give us their short list to lead the Bureau. Tonight on The Story with Martha McCallum.
Refresh your bedroom's look at the Vaughn Bassett clearance sale going on now at Leonardo Furniture. Beautiful custom-ordered Vaughn Bassett bedrooms in all kinds of looks. And right now, get instant rebates with your bedroom purchase. So combine Vaughn Bassett clearance prices with the Leonardo Furniture low price guarantee, and there's no better time to buy. It's the Vaughn Bassett clearance sale going on now for a limited time. Only at Leonardo Furniture in Rockville Center.
Who's your friend? He's downloading TV shows for me. This is legal, right?
Listen, Marv, just hit the TV to go tab on the Optimum app and you can watch full seasons of shows old and new from networks you subscribe to, plus extended sports coverage.
I had no idea.
Don't feel silly. Not like you gave him your social security number or anything.
You had such a trusting face.
TV to go on the Optimum app, a simpler way to watch it all.
For 19 rewarding years, I've been a 911 operator. I'm there to bring help and hope to those in urgent situations. I'm proud to be a Nassau County 911 operator and a CSEA member.
Doing the jobs that make Nassau County work.
As a crossing guard, I get to know these kids really well. They're my extended family, and I watch over them as though they were my own. I'm proud to be a Nassau County crossing guard and a CSEA member.
CSEA, Local 830, we work for you.
If you or a loved one has mesothelioma or any other asbestos-related cancer, call now. Asbestos manufacturers sold deadly asbestos materials to thousands of companies, putting workers at risk. An estimated $30 billion in court-ordered trusts have been set aside to pay out claims to asbestos victims. You may be entitled to a portion of these funds and receive compensation without filing a lawsuit or ever going to court.
For your free legal consultation, call 1-800-238-6089. That's 1-800-238-6089. I'm a non-attorney spokesperson.
All right, word that Apple is investing $1 billion at a data center in Nevada. The former Apple CEO, John Sculley, is here. And I only mention it, John, with you here because you're doing other bigger, cooler things now. But that it seems unusual because that seems to be doing exactly the kind of thing that Donald Trump wants to see, yet Tim Cook and the president are hardly on the same page. Is this a quid pro quo? What did you think?
Well, data is the most valuable resource in the world today. And you see what Amazon and Google and Facebook are doing, building data centers, as fast as they can.
This is one here, and then the president's very big on do more stuff here. Apple's famous for shipping all that abroad.
It makes total sense to build it here. Why not? And Apple wants to expand into services, so why not? It makes total sense, I think.
I did want to pick your brain a little bit about what you make of the Comey dust-up and everything else. Is it distracting? My view is it distracts from his economic agenda. Whether you like it or not, it's going to push that back at a minimum. As a business guy.
Well, here's what I think as a business guy. I'm not a politician. As a business guy, I believe that every president, including this president, needs a COO. Jim Baker was a COO for President Reagan.
Chief Operating Officer.
Absolutely, right? Chief Operating Officer. He needs to have somebody who's experienced in the White House that gets things done, helps him avoid these unforced errors. I mean, to have.
Well, he has a very good cabinet. You're talking his immediate advisors aren't.
Cabinet's terrific. He's got a terrific cabinet, and he needs to have something comparable to that in the White House, where they aren't, making announcements as they did with Comey, where he sees it on the television, or where they put out the immigration policy. Remember, they filed a draft,
would
and
you,
it wasn't
John,
well thought through.
Well, I understand what you're saying. There's an argument the president couldn't win no matter when he fired Comey, and he has perfect right to do that. But that the timing of this was bad. If you were advising him, would you have done it now?
Well, I would have advised him, and he knows this. He's built buildings all over the world. Sure. He understands execution is where the rubber hits the road, and it's no different in government. You've got to be able to execute, but you're doing it in front of the whole world. So I think they could have done a much better job on execution. I think the communication needs to be better, and I think the execution needs to be better, and the president needs to have somebody who he trusts as a COO. Maybe it's Gary Cohn. I don't know. That's up to the president. That's his choice.
But it's not the people he has now.
That's up to his choice.
Okay. Your latest undertaking is RX Advance. What is that? Explain.
Well, this is the most interesting business I've been involved with since Apple, and I've been involved with a lot of pretty cool businesses since then. What RX Advance is doing is going in and introducing digital transparency into the entire care continuum of the healthcare system. We've got on one bucket the most expensive patients, who are the chronically ill, about 5% of the population, $1.5 trillion of expense. And there is not good coordination between the physicians. Maybe they have 9 different chronic care diseases, taking 15 to 25 pills a day. There needs to be a lot more coordination with actionable analytics.
So to avoid all the overlap and the redundancies.
Exactly. McKinsey Global Institute estimates $450 billion of potential savings every year. That could more than pay for health insurance for every American.
Well, who's friendlier to this type of technology? The Obamacare plan, or what Republicans are cooking up?
Well, I think the Obama plan made a big mistake, as they did with a lot of things they did, where they looked to regulation as being the answer for everything. And the reality is that in Obamacare, there are federal mandates, which are the 10 essential benefits controlled at the federal level, which aren't required in every state. So giving the states more responsibility and authority makes total sense, particularly for Medicaid.
Are you worried when you hear that Aetna now is going to be out of these exchanges by next year? I mean, they're running out of people forget with Obamacare the way it is now, it's not sustainable math-wise, right?
Well, I'm not surprised. You've already seen United Healthcare pull out. Aetna says they're pulling out. These exchanges were badly conceived. It was kind of the default position when they couldn't get single-payer system in, so they created the exchanges with the assumption that turned out to be totally wrong, that young people would balance the older risk pool, and it just didn't work. And these health insurance companies are losing hundreds of billions of dollars. So we need something much better thought out.
But both sides need to talk to entrepreneurs,
Exactly.
which I guess would be you. John Scully, the former CEO of Apple, now RX Advance. This guy's mind is always percolating. I would just maybe watch TV for a little bit. Anyway, Merrick Garland, remember him? Barack Obama's choice of the Supreme Court, never got a hearing. How about FBI director? Don't laugh. Charlie Gasparino on the serious pitch to make that guy the next James Comey.
You do all this research on the perfect car, then smash it into a tree. Your insurance company raises your rates. Maybe you should have done more research on them.
For drivers with accident forgiveness, Liberty Mutual won't raise your rates due to your first accident. Liberty Mutual Insurance.
It's not just a car. It's your daily retreat. Go ahead. Spoil yourself. The ES and ES Hybrid. Experience amazing.
I work with people everywhere, on sea, on land, and in the air. Inspecting towers way up high, avoiding turbulence in the sky, personalizing treatments with DNA, and recommending who should play. A dress that thinks, which crops to grow, tax prep to help keep payments low. You can find me on an oil rig. I answer questions, small and big. Hello, my name is Watson.
Would you like to be a Publishers Clearinghouse winner next month?
Oh my God!
You could win $2 million plus $10,000 a month for life and a new car. Go to PCH.com and enter. June 30th, you could win it all.
Home is where we kick off our shoes. But when family members forget, trust Angie's List to help. Visit angieslist.com today.
Have you ever seen the emerald waters of Barbados? Or seen a butler walk on water to please you? Have you ever stayed in the world's most romantic suites? Or dined at 11 world-class restaurants in one resort? Have you ever imagined such 5-star luxury is all-inclusive? Sandals Barbados, where exclusive is always inclusive. Call 1-800-SANDALS today.
Yes, sir. What can we do for you? No, I think you have the wrong house, sir.
What you doing?
Hey, man. Don't do it.
I got you on camera.
When it comes to investing, looking from a fresh perspective can make all the difference. It can provide what we call an unlock, a realization that often reveals a better path forward. At Wells Fargo, it's our expertise in finding this kind of insight that has led us to become one of the largest investment and wealth management firms in the country. Discover how we can help find your unlock.
Is it your view, the vantage point of heading judiciary here, that any push for an independent prosecutor or an independent commission is unwarranted right now, even with what you heard from Mr. McCabe today?
That's my personal view.
All right, Charlie Gasparino, you heard the guy runs a judiciary committee. No special prosecutor, no special commission. This is you're hearing names being bandied about, including one former Supreme Court pick. Tell me what's going on.
Mike Lee, also on the Judiciary Committee, is now proposing Judge Merrick Garland as Comey's replacement after the firing last week. I mean, this is. I don't take this seriously, and a lot of Republicans don't take this seriously. That President Trump is actually going to appoint Merrick Garland, but it does tell you something. Republicans are very scared about the optics of the Tuesday last-minute firing of James Comey by Trump, that the optics of it look really bad. As you know, there's a wide-ranging, maybe exploding investigation into the ties between Russian intelligence and some Trump administration officials, some people associated with the Trump transition team and campaign. So that's the optics.
So someone like Merrick Garland now could be sort of Bill Clinton's Louis Freeh, right? I mean,
you're absolutely.
He fires the FBI director, brings in another guy who is well regarded, still is, by the way, Louis Freeh,
right?
Who was nonstop help for Bill Clinton.
Right.
Could Garland, be that kind of guy, and Donald Trump knows and would never appoint him.
Well, theoretically, but listen, like I said, I don't think this is going to happen, but it is an attempt by Republicans to change a narrative that is growing in Washington, namely that the firing of Comey is Nixonian. I mean, that's what the Democrats are saying. They're comparing it to Nixon's firing of the special prosecutor.
I think they would be saying that no matter when he fired him, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I know, but they are worried. I can tell you, I've been speaking with Republicans on the Hill.
Worried that it's going to just drag on and on? Is that?
Well, they are worried essentially about the midterm elections, and that the optics of this is going to hurt them in the midterm elections. So they are throwing names up there like Merrick Garland, obviously a Democrat, someone was put up by President Obama, didn't happen to be on the Supreme Court. So that's what we see here, an interesting game of cat and mouse to try to change the narrative. Listen, I think a better choice and a more likely choice is Mike Rogers, the former Michigan congressman whose name has been floated. He's
but not at Rudy Giuliani or Chris Christie, those who were overtly campaigning for.
I would say this about Rudy, and when you talk about Rudy Giuliani or Chris Christie, they're going to have a confirmation problem. That's what people say. Not that they did anything wrong, but both have had issues, right?
So the less controversy, the better. You don't want to blow it on something like this.
Yeah, and look what that got us with the Supreme Court. You remember Justice Souter?
I did.
Yeah, that was.
And you don't always get what you think.
Absolutely.
All right. Well, you're a good example of that. We thought we were getting someone credible.
You thought you were getting like a mild-mannered reporter, right?
And it didn't work out that way. All right,
buddy. Wild dog.
All right, you're the best. Charlie Gasparino. Well, the specialists will see you now. The doctors are in the house. Here they are.
Hello, everybody. I'm Kat Timpf, along with Eric Bolling and Ebony K. Williams. 5 o'clock will never be the same. We are the Fox News specialists. President Trump is going on the offense after firing FBI Director James Comey. The president sitting down for an interview with Lester Holt of NBC News, detailing how he made his decision to fire the FBI chief.
Monday, you met with the Deputy Attorney General, Rod Rosenstein.
Right.
Did you ask for a recommendation?
What I did is I was going to fire Comey. My decision. It was not.
You had made the decision before they came in the room.
I was going to fire Comey. There's no good time to do it, by the way.
Because in your letter you said I accepted their recommendation,
yeah, well,
so you had already made the decision.
I was going to fire regardless of recommendation.
So there was really
he made a recommendation. He's highly respected, very good guy, very smart guy. The Democrats like him, the Republicans like him. He made a recommendation, but regardless of recommendation, I was going to fire Comey.
President Trump also explaining his statement that Comey told him 3 times that he was not under investigation.
I actually asked him, yes. I said, if it's possible, would you let me know, am I under investigation? He said, you are not under investigation.
But he's given sworn testimony that there is an ongoing investigation into the Trump campaign and possible collusion with the Russian government. You were the centerpiece of the Trump campaign. So was he being truthful when he says you were under investigation?
I know that I'm not under investigation. Me, personally. I'm not talking about campaigns. I'm not talking about anything else. I'm not under investigation.
Also today, during a Senate Intelligence Committee hearing, the new acting FBI director was pressed about it.
Did you ever hear Director Comey tell the president he was not the subject of an investigation?
Sir, I can't comment on any conversations the director may have had with the president.
All right, how are you guys doing? Having a great day? Great day. More Comey news.
Great day.
I think the NBC interview was pretty interesting because he said he was going to do it regardless. Doesn't that make the timing make a little less sense in a way?
I'll jump right in here and say, so for 2 days or 3 days now, all we've heard about is the timing and whether, the left is so interested in finding out whether or not there's any collusion between Donald Trump and the Russians. For 10 months, it's up. They've investigated, they've dug, they've subpoenaed, and they found exactly zero, an airball on it. Meanwhile, ISIS is trying to take down the West, including us. North Korea is testing nuclear weapons against us and our allies. Iran is testing torpedoes in the Strait of Hormuz, where every single barrel of oil in at least that part of the world passes through. And they were worried about whether or not Donald Trump has still had a phone call with Putin or not.
All of those things you just listed are very bad, obviously.
I will say that. I'll say this, though, Kat. I had some experience and the great honor of working with the FBI and federal investigating agencies as a defense lawyer. And they really won't tell you too much. Even when you ask them flat out questions, hey, are you looking into my client? Oh, Miss Williams, we won't say, or not at this time. So I don't know, E. I'm looking to see where this ball ultimately lands. I'm with you right now. 10 months in, we don't have much.
Where do you stop, though? I mean, at what point do you say,
the feds can take
all
a
right,
while,
we're
though,
10
E.
months in, and millions of dollars spent on agents searching and doing.
I hear
Is there
you.
a certain point where you go, okay, we didn't find anything?
I hear you. You know what? I had a client one time, E. They were investigating him for 5 years. Handed out an indictment 5 years later. Now, I'm not saying that's going to be the case here with Trump, but they sometimes take their time to get it right.
Forever. All right. Let's meet our Fox News specialists today. He is a retired police officer. He was elected as a judge at the age of 34 in Miami-Dade County. And, of course, he was the star of his own syndicated court show, Judge Alex. But he specializes in lobstering. Judge Alex Farrer is here. And she is a radio talk show host. She writes a blog for the Washington Post, and she's a former producer and editor for NPR. But she specializes in all things First Amendment. Jamela Bey is here. Welcome, guys.
Thanks for having me.
Welcome.
It's a
pleasure. So, yeah, I mean, this has been a crazy week. I think it's very interesting that the acting FBI boss now doesn't seem to be a White House guy. He's saying it's a very, very important investigation. What do you think about that?
It is a very important investigation. I mean, I think that everybody, not, Republicans may not find it very important because they feel like it's already been beaten like a dead horse. And the Democrats didn't feel that the email scandal was a very important investigation. It's a matter of whose ox is being gored. But it really is an important investigation and needs to be put to rest. And it's not going to be put to rest by brushing anything aside. The people who are saying, oh, this was an attempt to stop this investigation, don't know how investigations are conducted.
Yeah, exactly.
It doesn't look
that's like
it's
saying
stopping.
I'm going to stop the train by firing the conductor. The train's still going to go. It's just going to be a different conductor. There's a lot of people whose careers depend on that train moving, and a lot of people and if you try to slow that train down, it's going to be outed by people from the inside. You have hundreds of agents that are involved in an investigation of this nature. They're not just going to all roll over because you changed the top guy. And the acting boss, Andrew McCabe, said, you know what, this investigation goes on unimpeded. His Absolutely. Unimpeded.
That's
don't worry about I can't imagine a change in the director changing what's actually I can't imagine that Trump or any of his advisors would have ever considered that getting rid of Comey would have any effect on the Russian investigation. I might have gotten rid of him because he wasn't looking into the leaks to the satisfaction of the president, which obviously the president feels that the leaks are significant, and many people do as well. Maybe because he was out in the public eye, and I don't remember another FBI director who's been out in the public eye as much as Comey, and you really shouldn't be. You're the investigative branch, you're law enforcement branch, you're not a politician. So there may be a variety of reasons. I seriously doubt that to curb the investigation was the motive.
I also thought it was interesting, though, that McKay was saying that Jim Comey was very highly regarded in the FBI, which seems to go slightly against what Donald Trump was saying.
Absolutely. And, to be honest, I'm shocked that Judge Alex, I completely agree with what you're saying here.
I'm shocked that you're shocked you agree with me.
Hey, maybe you know what you're doing. But the thing about it is, right now, Eric, I got to argue with you. The timing requires an answer. The
Why, Jamila?
The timing requires an answer because the question is raised. This strikes at the heart of our democracy right now.
Why?
The fact that
Why do you, I mean,
because
you're
if we're
repeating a left
talking
talking
about,
point
no,
saying,
no, this is not a talking
the investigation
point.
has gone on for 10 months and there has been absolutely nothing. Let me give you one.
Investigations go on that
in
long.
July of
If there's nothing
hold on, wait.
Comey.
In July of 2016, when Jim Comey cleared Hillary Clinton, the left loved Jim Comey, and then in October of that same year, when he said we're reopening the investigation, they were calling for his head. That was in October of last year.
So then let's hear what he's got to say. Let's hear what he finds. Let's hear from him again. This investigation is just starting to get to the point where, you know, I don't want to talk about bushes. It makes me want to think about, you know, the guy hiding in it looking at you, Spicer. But the thing is, right now, these questions are being raised. Has there been collusion with our government and the Russian government?
No.
Why?
We actually don't have an answer.
know that.
We don't have an answer.
Well, you'll never, if the answer is no, Jamila, it'll never get to yes.
What if the
answer is, you can keep looking, but unless you have a yes,
that
it's
was the
still
most
no.
roundabout argument ever. If the answer is no, we'll never get to yes.
No,
how do we know if the answer is yes?
If you're going to continue to investigate until you get a yes, at this point, you're going to do it ad nauseum.
I want to bring in one more thing here real quick. The acting FBI director also faced questioning today over the impact of Comey's dismissal on the Russia investigation.
Has the dismissal of Mr. Comey in any way impeded, interrupted, stopped, or negatively impacted any of the work, any investigation, or any ongoing projects at the Federal Bureau of Investigations?
As you know, Senator, the work of the men and women of the FBI continues despite any changes in circumstance, any decisions. So there has been no effort to impede our investigation to date.
So I want to speak to this, Kat, because, you know, this is the beauty of this system. This is the beauty of any high-functioning, and I really hold our FBI still in quite a high regard, despite I have a strong distaste for Jim Comey and have for quite a while. I agree with Judge Alex. He made the office political by, first of all, being so visible. That is not the point of a law enforcement official in this country, especially when in that capacity. But this is the beauty. He's just the face at that point. At this point, Jim Comey was nothing more than the face of the FBI. The men and women that are on the ground, so to speak, are in the trenches with files this high on their desk. They are going to work every day like this never happened. And of course, it's disruptive. It might be distracting, but it is not going to take their eye off the ball. And to your point, Eric, here's the thing. 10 months might seem like a long time. It's really not. And I'm not saying that to be suspicious. They might get to know. They ultimately might get to know. And I'm telling you that. Absolutely, you're right. But we don't know yet, and the feds take a little bit longer because, help me out, Judge, I think their accuracy rate, their conviction rate's around 98%. It's incredibly high when compared to the federal government. Yeah, they tend to get it right, and the reason they do is because they take their time.
Yeah, and that should be the most important thing to everybody.
Investigations can last a very long time in the federal government. It could be years before you ever find out.
I had a client, this guy, Judge, he thought he was in the clear. He was like, oh, I'm good, Miss Williams. Just joking.
But the fact that they wouldn't tell you that he was under investigation doesn't mean they won't tell Trump. You're not the president of the United States. That's a big difference.
No, not at all.
And we know that a massive amount of resources are being devoted to this. Sure. We heard it today. We heard McCabe say, no, there's no drain on resources. We're putting a ton of resources towards it. We don't need any additional funds.
I believe it.
As opposed to what you hear on the left saying, oh, they were looking for more funds. That's why Jim Comey was removed. That's not the case. McCabe said that was definitively not the case.
They don't typically come knocking for that.
He was removed because he serves at the behest of the president. Everything President Trump did was absolutely fair, legal, and constitutional.
So far as we know.
Thank you. Thank you. Let's keep looking and find out for certain.
To Jamila's point, and it's been said that if Hillary Clinton were the one who fired Comey, the Democrats, instead of yelling and screaming, would be applauding. I would flip it and say, in all honesty, if President Obama or Hillary Clinton fired the FBI director while they were investigating the email scandal, our same audience that is saying, what are you talking about, this is proper, would be going, this is the fix. The fix is in. It's like that meeting on the tarmac in Arizona.
And that's the problem with Jim Comey and the way he politicized, I believe, the office itself. Because now it's a no-win situation. I think he should have been fired. I don't blame President Trump for firing him at all. I've been very consistent around that. I think when you broke the news, I said, I think it's probably the strongest thing he's done as president. But we absolutely have to consider the context.
I think it's a judgment call for him.
Yeah.
I personally, I understand the different things that Comey did. I may disagree with one or two of them, but I understand what he did and why he did it. His explanations to me made sense, even though to a lot of people they were like, this is crazy, nobody's ever done it before.
Judge, he was an investigator. He was the FBI director.
Sure.
He was not a prosecutor. You don't have a problem with him recommending to Loretta Lynch not to indict Hillary Clinton?
Oh, no, I have a problem with that. I think, this is my own personal feeling. My personal feeling is, and ironically, it's what he ended up doing, is that I think that Comey looked at it and said, this is a close call. Were it anybody but Hillary Clinton, I would go ahead and indict.
Yeah.
But it's a close call, and by indicting her, I'm going to decide the next president of the United States. And I don't want to be the one who said Donald Trump will be the next president of the United States. So being a close call, I think he decided to go ahead and fudge on the no intent, when we all know that some of the crimes she was charged with did not require intent.
Well, also,
they were gross negligence crimes.
Sure.
But so I think that he made that call to basically say, I'm going to put it out there. She did all these things wrong.
He
Let everybody
injected
know.
himself into the political process by doing that.
Exactly. And then once he went in front of Congress, once he sat in front of Congress and swore the investigation was over, and they started saying, good, then we want the transcript of this testimony, I don't think he had a choice once those other emails came out but to get up and say, I know I promised you this investigation was over under oath. It is now no longer over.
Well,
I think he
Jeff
boxed
Sessions
himself
flipped on that.
into that. He put himself in that position.
He flipped on that a little bit. So, all right, well, Democrats' grip on sanity seems to be unraveling after President Trump's firing of James Comey. Their freak out for the ages is just moments away. Oh, and make sure to follow us on social media, Specialist FNC, on both Twitter and Facebook.
This program is brought to you by Cosequin, available at veterinarians and fine pet retailers.
Why does Duke take Cosequin? So he can get up and down the stairs. Keep him moving with Cosequin Joint Health Supplements.
Would you like to own an asset that has the potential for a 60% increase or more? Well, that investment is silver, and you can buy it at today's low price. If silver just returns to half of its all-time high, it would be a 60% increase. And if silver returns to its recent all-time high, it would be a 200% increase. Compare this silver investment to owning volatile stocks and low-yield bonds. Don't miss your chance to own silver before it rises in price. Call Lear Capital to receive the complete guide to silver investing free. The guide shows why experts say silver is undervalued, why silver could rise 60% or more, and how silver can help protect your IRA if